very late, so I would like to make my speech as short as possible. Today I have been given two topics, but I will mix both the topics in one so that I don't take too much of a time. And I have not prepared any speech because I thought that it's better if I can interact with you regarding those two topics. And that's why whatever random thoughts comes to my mind, I will just share it with you. First of all, whenever when I came here, I saw you all. I remembered my days. I was also a student just like you. We were studying law. I was in Tezpur Law College. At that time, maybe I had the same thoughts that you had, that after I pass law, what I will do. Because there are so many lawyers. Whenever we will visit court, we only used to see black coats. It is so crowded. Court is always a crowded place. Here it's a bit less crowded, but in our Tezpur or anywhere else in Assam you go, you find lots of black coats. So a thought comes to our mind. After we pass law, there are so many lawyers already. How will I survive here? How will I get cases? How can I earn my livelihood from this? So for this, I will just share you one story. That story, I think the young lawyers, students might not have heard about him. But do you know Justice Ansari of our High Court? Justice Iqbal Ansari. Okay, you might not know. He has retired, but he was one of the finest judges of our High Court. Now, he belonged to Tezpur and he studied in Tezpur Law College where I had studied. So just like you were students, I was also a student there, and we also organized a function there, and there the chief guest was Justice Ansari. Okay. So when he came, we were very impressed with him, with his personality, and then he shared his story, and it has stuck with me till date. He told his father, Justice Ansari's father, was also a lawyer of this school. So Justice Ansari didn't want to study law initially. Then his father wanted him to study law. So his father asked Justice Ansari that you get yourself enrolled in law college. Justice Ansari said, but Papa, he used to call his father Papa. Papa, there are so many lawyers. You are also a lawyer. There are hundreds of lawyers. If I become a lawyer, how will I survive there? Because those are big lawyers. And I will just pass out law college. I don't think I will be able to survive. Then his father told one thing. And you also remember this thing. His father said, remember son, there is crowd only at the bottom. If you reach top, it's very lonely there. That means the structure is there. It's like a pyramid. You have seen pyramid?
Yes.
At the bottom there is very much crowd. But if you rise to the top, you will find yourself only a few persons. So if you can excel, then let me assure you, there will be no dearth of money, there will be no dearth of fame. You will be able to earn lots of money, you will be able to earn lots of fame in this profession. There is a saying, all the lawyers, in the initial years, you run after clients, but later on, the clients will run after you. So what you have to do, you just have to do one thing, and it is study, and study. And there is no shortcut for that. For a lawyer, you have chosen such a profession. There are so many professions. If you become an engineer, you get the degree, and thereafter I don't think you will have to study a book again. Maybe never. But lawyer is such a profession where you have to study every day. I have been a lawyer for maybe 2-3 years. Then I have become a judge, and I am judge since 2006, so it's nearly 20 years. Even today, every day I open book. Every day. There is not a single day when I don't look at the IPC, CRPC, BNS, BNSS, BSA, every day. And it's true for all the judges here. It's true for all the lawyers. So if you think that you can read and finish law, then I think you cannot. Law is such a subject which you will have to read every day. So you should know how to read the law. Okay? So you should, instead of remembering, because our, be it lawyers or be it judges, our knowledge is ad hoc. Ad hoc knowledge means it's just case to case basis. Law is such a vast subject that it is very difficult to know everything. So what a lawyer or a judge does, if a particular case comes before you, what you will do? You will study about that case. You will know all the facts and then you will try to find out the law by studying. Okay? And then you will apply the law in the courts, maybe as a judge or maybe as a lawyer. So don't think that you can complete, that means after completing law here, LLB 3 years, your study is finished. No, it's a lifelong process, and if you commit yourself to learning, then you will always succeed, and I don't have any doubt about it. Now, this topic is strengthening the future of justice. Now, justice is a very, very, very heavy word, very wide word, and it is very difficult to define justice. Why it is very difficult to define justice? Because justice may be something for you and something else for him and something else for her. And that's why many jurists, many philosophers have tried to define this word justice, but no one is able to define it perfectly. Let me give you an example, and I will want responses from you also. A very, very simple story. A case, say you are the judges. Consider yourself the judges. Okay? You are the judges. In your court, a case has come where there is enough evidence. In fact, CCTV footage is also there that a man is seen running out of a shop with a bag. That means he stole a bag. Okay? Evidence is there, CCTV footage is there. There also you have seen that he is running out with the chair, with the bag. Now for theft, it is a theft, offense of theft. For theft, what is the punishment? Say 379, it's 3 years. So you have two choices. You may imprisonment him up to 3 years, not 3 years. From 0 to 3 years, you can give him any punishment, or there is another provision also, which is Probation of Offenders Act. There you may release him after admonition also. In a fifth case, you may release him also. So in this case, how much punishment will you give? There is proof that he has committed theft. How much punishment will you give? You can give maximum 3 years, or you may release him also on probation. So what we will do as a judge? Tell? How much? Any number that you feel like giving? Huh? You will give full 3. Okay, very good. From this side, how much, madam?
Sir, if he's a habitual offender, then 3 years. Otherwise, release him.
You will release him. You will not imprison him, not send him to jail.
No, I'll give you another chance.
Okay, you will give him a chance. Yes, madam, you? Yes. You? You will give 3 years. Okay. So this is the fact. You 3, madam will release him, and this madam will also give 3 years. Now suppose when you are going to give 3 years, a lawyer comes. Some young lawyer like you, and he says, just sir, please wait. Before sentencing him, let me say something. And that lawyer says that this person, he is a very poor person. He has not eaten for 3 days. He was searching for job, but he could not get any job for 3 days. His child is crying because of hunger. So he went inside that shop and he stole some bread. And in that bag, there was bread. So how much will you punish him now? Will you give 3 years?
Like
How much? Will you release him? Most of us will release him, maybe on probation. So this is the work of a lawyer. You have to bring all the facts. And that's why this word justice is also very difficult to define. Because when you are in court, when you are a lawyer, you cannot know all the facts of the case. So that's why it is very, very difficult to define justice. Now, let us come to the future of justice now. What is the future? Future, no one knows what the future is there. But I can assure you about one thing, that the next 10 years, that means till 2035 or 36, so many changes are going to come that you cannot imagine even now. And those changes are going to come because of AI, artificial intelligence.
True.
And if you are not prepared now, then you are going to get bulldozed by AI. Because if you want it or not, it is coming. So, there are only two choices before you. One of the choices is AI bulldozer will come and you will be under that bulldozer. And the second choice is that you can be a driver of that bulldozer and bulldoze others. So, this AI is not your enemy. It is going to come. But it is your friend, it is your ally. You have to take help from that AI. And then you have to progress. And with AI will come many new challenges, many new problems, many new type of cases which you may not have even heard today. Let me give you a small example. Today what happens? Say a car is moving, there is a driver, an accident takes place, the police comes, catches the driver is put to trial, and if he is found guilty, we sentence him to jail. Fine? This is what happens. Now you have heard about self-driving car, Teslas.
Yes.
What happens? There is no driver there. Who is driving that vehicle? AI. Artificial intelligence is driving that vehicle. Now say tomorrow you are traveling in a car, that car is owned by you, but that is a self-driving car. It goes to the road and hits someone. Now who will be an accused? Whom will you punish? Tell me, will it be the owner of the car? Will it be the manufacturer of the car? Or will it be the person who has written the software for that car?
Owner.
Whom will you punish?
Owner.
The
Owner.
manufacturer.
Owner.
The owner. But the owner will say, I don't have any say in this car, it drives it automatically. I don't have any say.
Because of the negligence.
So how can I be liable for that? The programmer. So no one will become a programmer. So these are few challenges. Say for example, it is said, Elon Musk, you have heard his name?
Yes.
He is the owner of Tesla. According to him, by 2040, it's not very far, you will all see, by 2040, there will be more robots than human beings. It is his prediction. There will be more human beings or more robots than human beings. Robots will work in factories, robots will work in your home, they will be your domestic help, they will be in restaurant if you go, they will be the restaurant boy, everywhere there will be robots. And that robot, you don't have to run it like this video game. It will run on its own. It will charge on its own. It's still there. In fact, all of you have Instagram, and I think in your Instagram feed you might have seen such type of robots. Now tomorrow, there is every likelihood, if you are a lawyer or if you are a judge, a case may come before you where a lawyer has committed a murder, or a robot has committed murder. There is every likelihood. Now, if that robot commits the murder, who will be liable for that? Whether the owner of the liable, whether the manufacturer, whether the person who wrote the program, or no one. So these are some of the things that are going to come, and you as lawyers or you as judges, you will have to decide those cases. There are so many things. Nowadays, every one of you have used ChatGPT, I think.
Yes.
If you have not used, please use it. Because if you don't use it, you will remain behind.
Yes.
ChatGPT, yeah, some people may cheat also with that. Your assignment, which otherwise might took you maybe 5 days, you give a prompt and it will give you your assignment in few seconds, few minutes. It's there, but it is going to be a part of your life. Now, say for example, in AI, there are programs, there are softwares where you may give a prompt and it will give you a music. Huh? Now AI can create songs also. And there are YouTube channels also where there are only AI songs.
Yeah.
Music, song, everything is AI. No human being involved. Now say for example, you gave a prompt, you created a song, you put it on YouTube from your channel, and that becomes a hit. It becomes viral. It's earning lots of money. Now the program, since it was you created it in ChatGPT or any other AI program, it comes and says that no, this is my property, this is not your property. Because it is my program which has created it. So what will happen? Who will have the copyright of this song? Whether the AI company will have the copyright of this song? Whether I will have the copyright of this song? Who? According to you, who? Anyone? Any guesses? We also do not know because the law has not yet matured to that stage. But cases are coming up like this. Not here in India, but it has started to come in America. So, according to you, who should be the owner of that? Who should have the copyright? Yes?
The one who posted the song first. If he
The person who gave the prompt and posted it, or the company or the AI company who created that program.
it's a bit complicated.
Yeah, it's a bit complicated. So these complications will come before you. And not long, in just a few years. So you will have to think. You will have to give solutions. You will have to be a part of that solution. So I request you, every one of you, please use AI as much as you can, not to cheat, but to learn from it. Make it a part of you. And it will be there in every part of your life. Maybe we were in a time, and maybe Yadavji will also know, you won't know. There was a time when there was only landlines, no mobile phone, only landline. And that too, that landline was there only in a village, maybe in 1 or 2 homes. You don't know about that time. So, entire village, one phone, and everyone used to go to that house to call or receive call. Then what happened? Slowly, mobile phone came. But still, those mobile phones were with few. But today, a day has come when, as a student also, I don't think there is anyone here without a mobile. That is smartphone mobile. Forget about that feature phone. Because I know everyone here has it. So tomorrow, a day will come when every one of you will have something which is connected to AI, automation. And so if you do not get on that bus, you will be left far behind. So I request you, use AI as much as you can, but not to cheat, but to learn from it. Make it your friend, not your enemy. Because if you try to make it as an enemy, it will bulldoze you and go. So this is what I have to say regarding the future of what our justice delivery system looks like. And justice is something which I cannot define, and so I will never try to define it also, because it is very, very fluid concept. Now my second topic was regarding etiquettes of courtroom. So I will just make it very, very short. First, be punctual. Punctuality is something which you should cultivate in you, and it should not be on time, but you should always be before time.
True.
Always make sure if the court opens at 10, but we sit at 10:30. So you should be in your courtroom before 10:30, not at 10:30. And we all judges, we try to sit at 10:30, and we expect that all the lawyers also come and reach the court before 10:30. So if you try to be on time, then you will always be late. So don't try to be on time. Try to be at least 5-10 minutes ahead of time. So this punctuality is one thing which, even if you are a lawyer or you are a judge, it will help you in your life, because no one likes a person who is not punctual. Second, be very meticulous with your cases. Even as a lawyer or as a judge, please read the file carefully. Please read what is there. Reading is very, very essential, because only when you will read, you will understand. So read very, very carefully, minutely. And then, if you do not understand, there is technology to help you. If technology cannot help you, there are your friends who can help you. If there are friends who cannot help you, then there are seniors like Hanser, Yadavji, they will help you. Because you will be going in this court itself. Most of you. Some of you may go to High Court also, some of you may become a judge also. So, always be very, very meticulous, and there is no shortcut to success. Always be punctual, be very, very courteous, humble. Humility is one quality which nowadays rarely people have. You should be very, very humble. Even if you know everything, you should still be humble. Humility is something which everyone likes, but rarely anyone possesses it. So be humble, be courteous towards your colleague also, courteous towards your court also. There may be disagreements, because in a case there are two lawyers, one for one side and other for other side. So you should always be courteous. There will be differences of opinion, but differences of opinion does not mean that you will argue. You just put your point as strongly as you can, but never argue. Neither with the judge nor with your colleague lawyers. Okay? Be very, very courteous. These are the things. It is very, very late. I have taken more time. I thought I would finish it in 10 minutes. But before going there, just I will finish it with one example, because there was one topic about ethics also. I will just give an example. There is something called client-lawyer privilege. You might have heard it. What does client-lawyer privilege says? It says that if anyone comes to a lawyer and discusses something, that lawyer is not supposed to disclose it to anyone, and no one can compel that lawyer also to disclose it to anyone. In fact, Supreme Court has recently, just a few days back, a week back, given a judgment on this, because the police used to summon those advocates whom the litigants met.
Yeah.
So say for example, ethics, morality, law, justice. This example will test you. A terrorist comes to you. You are a lawyer. A terrorist comes to you and he discloses before you that the bomb blast that took place a few days back, maybe in your city, he planted that bomb. And he has planted another bomb which is going to explode after 1 week. You are a lawyer. What will you do? Will you go and disclose it to police that this person has said that he has put the bomb and there is one another bomb which is going to explode? Or you will keep silent? Will you defend him?
No.
Will you be his lawyer?
No.
You will not be his lawyer.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyone will want to become his lawyer? No one wants to become a lawyer.
Yes.
Okay, so you will go undefended that means.
I will become.
So this is one thing about lawyer.
Finally.
You may choose anyone whom you want to defend or not. But just because someone has committed a crime and he has disclosed before you, that does not mean you will not defend. Because defense is his legal right. Even Azmal Kasar, you might have heard his name.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Even Azmal Kasar had a lawyer. So everyone has a right to be defended. Now let us come to the next question. Will you go to the police
No.
Yes.
No.
and tell that this person has committed the crime?
No.
Or you will just keep quiet?
You keep quiet.
And what about the second bomb which you disclosed before you that it is going to explode within 1 week?
We're going to tell the police about the bomb, not.
And what about ethics and morality then?
But
Being
at
a
least-
lawyer?
But I want to save more people than my ethics.
Okay. So saving more people is okay. That means in order to save more people, you can punish one or two, even if it breaks your ethics, morality.
Well, sir, it
Okay.
depends.
There is a
Yeah.
very fine thought experiment. This is not a real experiment. A person, there are 4 persons. One doesn't have a heart, his heart is damaged. One kidney is damaged, one lung is damaged, and one more heart. But heart, lungs, kidney, say for 3 example. There is 3 persons, one person kidney damage, one person lung damage, one person heart damage. They all are going to die if they are not given operation. And there is one healthy person who has a good heart, good lungs, good kidney. Will you kill that person, take out his heart, take out his kidney, and take out his lung and save 3, or let him die because you should protect more? Will you kill that one person and save 3?
No.
Okay. So these are some things which we should cultivate, and I will end with this. There is a famous Chinese saying. That Chinese saying says, it's a Chinese proverb, and I like that proverb very much. It says, "Give me a fish, I will eat for a day. Give me a fish, I will eat for a day. Teach me to fish, I eat for my life."
Yes.
Okay? So thank you.